Hey everyone, welcome to this video, and we're going to be talking to Alan Burnell, Neil Laverty and Colm O'Reilly in terms of how their gyms reacted to Covid-19. So we're going to be asking them questions in terms of how do their coaches react, what are they offering current members, and how do they see the future in the fitness industry. So check out the video and subscribe.
Neil Laverty, CrossFit 8020 up in Northern Ireland.
Great, Neil, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me on. It's Colm O'Reilly here from CrossFit Ireland out in Sandyford.
Great, thanks for joining us, Colm.
My name is Alan Burnell. I am the co-owner of CrossFit Unlaois'd with my partner Barry Tracy.
Also known as the Irish man of CrossFit. Anyway, he's been in it for long enough. Tell me, so how long you've been closed for since, I suppose, this whole thing has came about in terms of COVID-19?
This must be running into week 7 now. We've been closed, so fairly extensive amount of time.
So when you heard the reaction, like what exactly happened, or like the announcement yourself, like did you make the call yourself, or did you wait for the government to kind of make the call for you?
In the UK maybe it was slightly different. So we had an announcement on a Friday that they were advising businesses to close down, and we closed down on that Friday. And then obviously they had discussions and made different calls over the weekend in the UK government, and then it was mandatory on the Monday, but we'd already closed down on the Friday. So I suppose we took the decision ourselves to close on the Friday, but it was made mandatory for everybody 3 days later.
Okay, yeah. And was that just something you felt a little bit more comfortable making that decision yourself, or was it like talking to members and staff, or what was it, or just general safety?
I think it was just the point of view that, as a business owner, obviously I don't want to close my doors, but as a human being, I didn't want to be the cause of any clusters or outbreaks, or someone losing a family member because of my actions to try and save my business, which essentially is just money and salaries at the end of the day. It's not human life. So for me, it was more, okay, this is the right thing to do in terms of being a human being. Forget about all the other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what an awful lot of gyms are afraid of, that a spread might come in within their own gym and then they'd be responsible for that. So it's
So the initial process is we thought that maybe if you'd closed schools and big businesses, you'd taken enough heat out of the system. And we told our members we were going to 45-minute classes and reducing our number to class to no more than 10 to allow us increased cleaning. Then over the course of that weekend before Paddy's Day, everybody went out in the pub, and the court of public opinion changed very quickly. So we never used the term closing because, you don't want to plant that negative idea in people's heads. So we said, hey, we're temporarily suspending in-person classes and moving to online. And it was pretty much regarded as the right decision by people. So we made it like late Sunday, but we thought it was a bit too late to sort of cancel the morning classes. So ran the morning classes, and then right there in the gym did the first Zoom class. That was on March 16th, so just before Paddy's Day.
Okay, yeah. And like, do you feel as if your own decision on that, like you felt as if it was like, a business decision, or did you feel as if there was pressure from the members and the public itself, or like how did you kind of come to that decision to kind of close? Like, was it more personal, or was it more was there any pressures from the members thinking that you should be closed? Or
there was a little bit of pressure from members, and that's fair. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and you're already getting a few people saying it's like, hey, I'm going to stay away from the gym until this is sorted. So we felt it was just the right thing to do overall.
Yeah.
And it's funny that once you make that switch, you're like, okay, yeah, this is it. You've got to shut down to stop the spread of this disease.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about. As arrogant as it sounds, like I'm relatively young, I'm relatively healthy. So I imagine if I did get coronavirus, I'd survive it. But I'd kill my parents. So.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to be the source of it.
No.
Okay.
We made the decision on a Friday evening before Paddy's Day, so that would have been about the 13 to 14 of March.
Yeah.
We had, myself and Barry had debated evening after evening, are we going to do this now, or are we going to do it now? We'd already limited the gym to 10 persons, and we'd already stopped people from coming into the gym unless like they were waiting for a class and they had to stay in their cars. So we kind of implemented a number of different things, and it was just getting over the top because it was becoming too much of a mountain for us to kind of deal with, and we could not guarantee anything.
Yeah, and like, did you feel as if like, let's say it was it was a decision between you and Barry, or did you feel as if you were having a little bit of pressure from the members and the public, or perception, or what was kind of influencing?
It was definitely it wasn't a public perception. It was probably in some ways it was our own pressure we put on ourselves, and our I suppose our duty of care that we felt like our members were turning up. So people were still turning up. The gym, the classes were being booked. You know, we had limited classes at 10. We normally have a class size of 14. So it wasn't a huge drop. And people had the option to book or not book, and we were still filling the class every single time. But it was a level of anxiety, I suppose, a lot of it too, that we were just kind of saying, this is not that it wasn't worth it, but like we couldn't continue and guarantee the welfare of everyone, I suppose.
Yeah, okay, yeah, smart decision. Obviously, you don't want to be that source. Like, that's what an awful lot of the owners are saying, and like the perception was like that they just didn't want to make the situation even worse just to keep the gym open for an extra few days, which obviously wouldn't be worth it. And like, and so like let's say like you, oh sorry, go on.
No, like you just said, like, you know, it was a Friday of a long weekend. We were going to be closed Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and more than likely, officially, we anticipated that we were going to be closed sometime during that week.
Yeah.
So we just decided Friday evening, pull the plug. That's it. We can't do any more.
Okay. So, and like you closed down. So what are you offering, or what did you offer straight away, or I suppose what are you offering now to members regarding like training or programming, or what's going on with that?
Okay, so anybody that's kept their membership with us at the minute we divided all the members between the coaches, and the coaches are offering one-on-one programming. So for anybody that does have equipment and wants to do additional to the main program that I write, then they can avail of that. So essentially what the members can avail of, if they want to, is they can do our main class program, which is pretty much based on having no equipment, mostly body weight or equipment that you can put together at home, you know, like using a rucksack, stuff like that. That program goes live. That's every day. We run 2 of those live classes every day based on feedback of what worked for people. And then, you know, as I say, additional to that, each member has been given a coach, and they can touch base with their coach anytime they want. We use a scheduling app that they can schedule in meetings with their coach and say, you know, what they wanted and what they wanted to include in their program based on the equipment that they actually currently have. Then on top of that, I designed 3 or 4 different running structures for people over the time. So 12-week running programs based on where your level of running was at. So for people who don't like running and just would never run, and it goes right through to people who want to run a half marathon. Then we did some push-up programs, some handstand push-up programs, different bits and pieces of things that people could, you know, keep a little bit of momentum going and actually have a goal at the end of the programs that they're doing. Then every evening at 7:30, we run a mobility workout. So people can log in and do 20-30 minutes of mobility with a coach. And then with anybody that wants some help in nutrition as well, we're offering that. So people can touch base and get a little bit of help based around their nutrition. Mostly, as we all know, with the nutrition, it's more accountability than anything, because all the knowledge is already out there. But that's what we're doing so far. And then in the background, I suppose, for me as the business owner, I've been just, you know, formulating plans and doing different things about, you know, what I can do once we get open, because it can't last forever. So that's probably the main thought on mine and yours and other business owners' minds at the minute.
Yeah, so like you're essentially offering your clients as much as you can in terms of like nutrition, live workouts, personal programming, additional programming, everything in. So like you really couldn't really offer them anything else more, do you think, or other than
you could always offer more, you know. I mean, I would be the first to say that I wasn't fast enough to act and probably didn't get the live workouts up as fast as I should have, you know. Obviously had that little bit of time where I felt sorry for myself and thought the business was going to go under, and probably should have reacted quicker to the market and what was happening. But yeah, at the minute, you know, I would like more of the members to make use of what we're trying to offer, you know, more of the personalized stuff. But again, everybody has their own journey through this, and, you know, some people are struggling more than others. Some people it hasn't really affected that much, and, you know, we just keep trying to, you know, send messages out and touch base with members and try and get them to talk to us, and we can hopefully offer them more than just the generic class that, you know, goes out for everybody each day. But yeah, it's trying to get as much as we possibly can at the minute.
And how
yeah, so members, the basic option is for some of them it's just not for them. They wanted the physical location, and that's where they see the value. So some of them like went on the pause or cancelled straight away and said that's fine, waiving all the normal you know, notice period because it's such an unprecedented event. Some people love the Zoom classes because it's like a set time a day and they can hop in with the coach and they love that. And then other people like we're doing like one-to-one personal coaching with them. So they've got their workout, they're set up in True Coach, and we check in with them as well. But every member gets checked in with multiple times per week, either a text or a phone call. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, how was your weekend? Are you good? Others it's, do you need more from us? Do you need some nutrition, accountability? One girl, like I said, I'd hold her accountable to getting up before 9 o'clock each day because that's what she needs because her routine is gone. That's what we're doing. Like whatever people need from us during this time that like falls under the spectrum of health.
Yeah. And do you find as if most people, like members itself, like are getting so much equipment and buying random kettlebell weights online or dumbbells, or are most of them just doing stuff with body weight, or what's going on there?
I'd say the vast majority are body weight, and that's what we programmed our Zoom classes for, because I didn't want to say, hey, our workout today is like 30 dumbbell snatches to start. People are like, well, I don't have a dumbbell, so I can't train. I'd much rather say, like, the barrier to entry is, do you have a little bit of space to do a burpee in your kitchen or living room? And then if people want, they can add dumbbells, or like we'll do backpack deadlifts and stuff like that. Because I wanted to give it like a little excuse for not working out as possible. You know, like, I haven't done a pull-up in weeks because I don't have a pull-up bar here at home. You know, we did let members borrow dumbbells and kettlebells. You know, we didn't really know at the time. Maybe if we go back, we would have made it a more structured system. But at the time, you know, it was just sort of like, hey, the whole thing is closing. Grab something.
Grab your stuff. Yeah. And like, how do you feel like members are?
I suppose, luckily enough, we have a membership base that's been, like, you know, oh my God, we're probably open since 2010, 2011. We're a CrossFit affiliate since 2012. But our members, like, we have probably 80% of our members are with us 4 to 5 years. So a lot of people are very accomplished. You know, they're all well in tune with what to do and what we are doing. So nothing really changed on a daily basis. Every single day, the workout was on Modify. Barry is head of programming now, so Barry covered all of the programming side of things. And then just to kind of maybe add a little bit more to the programming, he would do a demo video every single day for the daily workout. That was on the programming side of things. On the equipment side of things, obviously we didn't have a barbell or weight for every single person, but we literally gave every single piece of equipment we could possibly give that was on the floor. So you go into my gym at the moment and you'll just see mats and ski ergs bolted to the wall. So everyone got a piece of equipment. So like, if you use the term heavy object, everyone had a heavy object. And the programming allowed then for, you know, a heavy object, whether a carry, lift, pull, squat, whatever it may be. So, and then Barry just allowed the programming to fit a barbell, to fit a dumbbell, to fit a kettlebell. So that's where. So nothing changed in that respect. You know, we didn't go down the Zoom route. We didn't go down any additional, I suppose, any additional other things other than instructional video, daily programming. You know, probably send out a monthly. I've been sending out a monthly email, just checking in with different people. You know, I suppose the beauty of Wodify is that we can have a mass kind of email message to go out to people, and, you know, just keep constantly keeping connected, I suppose, in terms of updates.
No, Savage, it's so lucky, like, as well, that you've got you know, as you say, your members are very experienced, or they've been with you for so many years, so they kind of know what they're at, you know what I mean, in terms of, like, if you give them something, they're going to know what to do.
You're still going to have the question, is it a squat or a power? You know, you get that every single day of the week. No matter how many members are in the gym. And like, there are new members. We had new members come in, let's say, in the last 5, 6, 8 months, you know, and I think Barry's kind of demo video every day on our private group is good enough for what we're doing. Like, we're not making the programming like complicated. It's very similar to, you know, but the Perpetua stuff and all that. We're not going out of our way, throwing up ring muscle ups and trying to find a tree and climb it and stuff like that. So
and it's like it's trying to be for everyone as well, isn't it?
You're trying to be for everyone, because, like, you know, on the back of this, you know, we've probably gained a few members.
Deadly,
you know, just purely by default, purely by offering a level of workout that can be done anywhere by anyone. where they weren't getting it, let's say, from a commercial gym.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
You
good,
know,
because I was actually reading something there yesterday. It was Two Brain Business, and they were saying that American gyms, like 30, I think it was, they said 38% or whatever of gyms that they work with, I think mainly based in America or whatever, have made more money this month than they did last month or something like that, whatever way they're doing it. But that was interesting to hear. And then like, let's say you were talking about your members there. So like, how do you think?
I would say, I suppose there's a lot of frustration in the members, and I can see why. You know, some members have a lot of kit. You know, some members probably have, you know, like nearly their own CrossFit gym at home, and you know, can make use of programming and pretty much do a normal CrossFit program, you know, at home. Other people have no kit whatsoever. So I think you know, that can play a big part in terms of that. The amount of kit and, you know, what access you have to stuff to be able to train with, because obviously that varies up the program. Like, I know the program, like, I've tried my best from all my programming knowledge to keep it fairly interesting and new exercises all the time. You know, different ways to keep people activating the same muscle groups, but you know, every single week it changes. It does not the same, you know, push up, burpee, squat, sit up every single time, although they do play a major part in some of the programming, because
Yeah, sure.
that's what people can do. So I would say, you know, for looking at the numbers, I might say 60% are actually, you know, regularly doing the workouts, or finding them probably more monotonous and boring than most normal CrossFit programs. But again, it's kind of, you bearing with that. Some just aren't doing them. Some are doing their own stuff. You know, some have just, you know, I know some of the guys who got the running program are just concentrating on that, and they're happy to run 3 or 4 times a week based on the program that I designed, because, you know, just concentrate on that, and that's their new goal, is to be able to at the end of this run a half marathon. That's a really cool goal, you know. So I think for a lot of people, it's, you know, the people who seem to be more successful with dealing with this are the ones who are accepting that, you know, this is something we're all in. This is something that you can't change, and so therefore the mindset needs to be, what can I do, not what can't I do. You know, everybody in the world now knows my aversion to social media and, you know, what goes on in that, and I get that, you know, a lot of people can get ideas and inspiration from social media, but I think one thing that people aren't talking about is that, you know, everybody who has a lot of kit and you know, all the competitive athletes, they're posting a lot of the stuff that they're doing. There is a negative aspect to that, and that's that, you know, a lot of people who don't have any kit and don't have that stuff are nearly becoming the have-nots of the fitness world. And you know, they look at this, and it's hard for them not to get frustrated and go, well, I don't have kit and I don't have access to this, and I can't do that. And that's, you know, that's something that I think needs to be addressed. You know, as I said, we're all in this together. Some people have more access to our things, but you know, I would love to see more of the more, you know, out there known athletes potentially limit the amount that they post in terms of the workouts with their lovely Gucci equipment and everything they've got, and maybe do more of the stuff like, you know, their warm-up drills and stuff that doesn't have equipment, because then it creates this thing of, you know, everybody can keep fit and you don't need to have all this equipment to keep fit. Again, that's a different topic of conversation, I suppose. But yeah, I think that can lead to a lot of frustration for people.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how some members react. And like, definitely some people have adapted to it quicker, and then some people are still only trying to get to it. But unfortunately, then you're hearing from some clients as well that they're working more than ever. So they're even working more, or they're involved with their family more because they're at home. So it is affecting that. And like you mentioned,
for some people, and by the way, I always notice that people get their most frustrated around Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
Another week of this, and I think people did anyway, but now it's like it's turned all the way up. So kind of each week you notice that it like someone has a dip and it takes its toll on someone, and that's normal, because like, you know, your need for connection is taken away, your need for job security might be in jeopardy. Like a lot of people had summer holidays plans and now they're gone, and like some people live for that. So some people though are the complete opposite, and they're doing way more. They've gotten into our guided meditations that we do in our members group every day. They're training way more at home because like they have a Zoom class, or they have a coach checking in with them daily. And then others, it's the same. You know, you've got the complete spectrum of it.
Yeah, everyone's got different, like it's happening to different people. Their reactions are different, aren't they?
Yeah, and it changes week to week. You could be happy out one week. It's like, yeah, I've got a good routine, I've got good structure. And then, you know, Leo comes out and says something, and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying there, you mentioned there about like
I guess it's probably 50-50. Like, you know, what I'm seeing, I suppose, on the ground in terms of, you know, let's say the social media presence of people, our kind of very kind of active members and very kind of in touch with the kind of whole gym side of things, they continue to do their daily bit. I'm sure people have up days and down days. Some people just don't like posting it. That's fine too. We still know people still do the work. You know, we've had as a community, you know, in the kind of the Greater Leash area, we've had a very big charity that's been going on for the last 50 something days, and it's called Do It for Dan. And you know, it's derived from a young boy who needs special medical treatment in the States, and his parents were are GAA players. But collectively as a community, everyone has been doing something, whether it be a run, a walk, or workouts, or head shaves, or dyeing hair, or something like that. So I think that's been keeping a lot of people focused. I think a lot of my members are probably running more than they ever have.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of whole 5K, do it for Dan, 5K, nominate, all that type of thing. And all of a sudden this 5K is turning into 10Ks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of external stuff going on for people. I don't think people are getting too worked up if they don't get a workout in. You know, and you know, I'd say 80% of our members would be 3-day-a-week type members, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Even though we program Monday to Saturday, I'd say people are jumping in and jumping out too. Like they'll pick 3 workouts over the course of a week and they'll do 2 runs. But it's a different kind of animal down here, I suppose. When I said down here, it's a different animal in kind of in more country environment as opposed to kind of, you know, kind of a more competitive, highly dense populated area. So I think we have a lot of loyalty. I think that's been massive for us. Like,
that's key as well, especially for like gyms on the outer skirts or in the country and stuff like that. They're speaking to other gym owners and stuff like that. The loyalty they have for members is phenomenal, as we do obviously in the city centre as well. But it's just like, it's always just that little bit tighter when they're from there or they live there all the time. So it's interesting to hear that as well.
Yeah, and I guess because it's a smaller community, like, you know, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have a member who is married to another member, or a member who has brother and sister, and it's that closer knit because, you know, it's just a smaller community. So even the likes of renting out equipment or giving people equipment, you know, I have a lot of people in my gym who have equipment, and they're either boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife, brother or sister, and they're sharing equipment. So you have this thing where you sometimes you're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah,
because they're all getting a kind of a touch of the equipment. I seen Tom Dunphy from CrossFit Waterford a while back was had his machines being given out, and we've given out all our machines to all the concept bikers, rowers. Assault bikes weren't taken up. They were the only things that people did not want.
Yeah, the hardest machine in the world. Yeah,
the hardest machine. No one wanted assault bikes. So I think Tom went this raffle. So every 2 weeks he would raffle the concept bikes again, and he would give it every 2 weeks. So I took that approach whereby we would give people 2 weeks with the machine, and then look to kind of get how to somewhere else. So just trying to spread the wealth.
Yeah, different ideas. Yeah. Very quickly there about your staff, like programming for individuals or clients at home. Like what's the story with staff? Like how do they react?
Obviously it's a tough time for everybody, and you know, when you run a CrossFit business that, you know, essentially relies on, you know, the salary they get from the CrossFit business, and you know yourself, you know you guys Perpetua run similar things that I do, and then, you know, they top up their wages and salary significantly with personal training. You know, that's a hard position to be in when, you know, one of your major revenue streams as a coach and PT is just completely removed from you. So again, like, you know, what I've tried to do is kind of mimic that in terms of the one-on-one stuff. You know, I'm paying the coaches, you know, a set amount, you know, to make sure that they keep and maintain clients. They get paid for the live classes they do. So, you know, it's a similar model to what we used to run, but obviously, you know, revenue and money's down for everybody. So it's a tough thing to be in, and it's hard as a coach, I think, you know, and again, it's something that people aren't talking about is that, you know, coaches and you know, business owners and gym owners are suffering just like everybody else is. You know, they're getting downtimes, they're getting dark places they wake up in, and they're feeling this too, but they're expected to be the leader of the community, and you know, they're expected to be happy and driven and always pushing forward. And you know, that's a tough thing to be that person all the time, and then you have to deal with all your own stuff as well. So they're coping pretty well. They're still pretty positive in terms of what's going on, and you're hoping that we can ride this out. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of the way they've acted.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to see them. At least they're getting some work. That's the main thing. You're supposed you're thinking about your staff, like you're thinking obviously about your business as well, but you're also thinking about the team, making sure they're happy, and then they can come back to some work. Okay. So then,
it's same as like we all have every dog has its day. Everybody gets like frustrated and thinks, oh, what's the frickin' point am I doing here? Some people get bored. They miss their friends. They miss the physical space. We just try and focus on, okay, well, yeah, like the environment isn't, the situation is not ideal, but let's just focus on what we can do. You got a little bit of time to vent, but just focus on what you can do.
They're keeping busy anyway with contacting members and clients and stuff like that, so that probably helps a little bit. Okay.
Some have gotten new PT clients and are delivering like one-on-one sessions over Zoom.
Savage.
Yeah. So all the new people have taken on, all of mine are just all through Coach and text message and phone calls.
Okay, savage. Okay, and then
again, I suppose from the outset, it's probably important to realize that Barry and myself, the gym wouldn't be our primary level of income or our source of income, and that kind of sits with the coaches as well. Every one of our coaches all have full-time jobs. And it's always been this thing whereby we were a very, very small group, and just over time got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, people almost came to us to coach. They wanted to coach in the gym. So luckily enough, we've had, let's say, 5-6 coaches, and we spread the workload across a week. So no one is exhausted in terms of doing, 10-15 hours a day or whatever it may be. We've always had like a coach per day nearly. Maybe one coach might do 2 days, or I might do 2, or Barry might do 2. But it's spread across. Like it's a very different animal for us. We're like, I suppose we'll say we're very lucky. Because all our coaches, all of them have a job. Some of them are still working.
Wow, so that's incredible.
It's different. I don't call them staff. For me, it's not staff. For me, they're our kind of our buddies, and are kind of they happen to be coaches, but they happen to be our friends too. And luckily enough, we haven't had an issue where we haven't had a situation whereby one coach is absolutely dependent on us to give them work. It's just we definitely our model is totally different than a lot more gyms.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's still interesting to hear how people are reacting, and your members and stuff like that, and as a gym yourself, because obviously, even though, as you say, yourself and your Barry, like I have other jobs and stuff like that, it's still, you still have to run the gym. You still have to
listen, there's still days of the week whereby you're up thinking about something, and you're up thinking about someone in the gym. It doesn't I always said that it mightn't be my primary income, but it's definitely my primary job. It's you say part-time job, full-time commitment. It's still my number one thing to think about. I guess you could say it out of sight, out of mind. There's days I won't go down to the gym and check in on the place in terms of security and stuff like that, and then there's days I'll go down and kind of walk around and kind of go, what if, and what can we do here? So there's too many moving parts for everyone at the moment, so.
Okay, so then I suppose finally, there was an announcement last night in Ireland about the changes in the phases we have. Like gyms are coming up on phase 5 at the moment, so it's looking like August time, including obviously the social distancing. So what's your thoughts on that, and maybe the fitness industry itself once we get back to normal? Do you think that my feeling is, and just from talking to you before, obviously we had this conversation, is that people are feeling that things are going to go back to normal straight away on the 10th of August, but that's probably not the case, is it?
I read the full document. Obviously, being in Northern Ireland, we'll probably have a pretty similar strategy, I would imagine, given that we're the one island. I know that all the different political groups are talking to each other, and they're trying not to make it a political thing, more of a health thing. So I can imagine that the UK, Ireland, Northern Ireland, it'll be a pretty similar approach. I can't imagine it's going to be exactly the same, but pretty similar. So reading the document, it's somewhat confuses me. the fact that swimming pools, and let's face it, people are going to be pretty close in changing rooms. There's a lot of like transmission of like liquids, different things like that there, that swimming pools can open earlier than gyms.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
I have to imagine that the powers that be have made the call on gyms thinking about what a normal gym looks like. So,
Like a
you
global
walk
gym.
into a normal global gym, and you have 20 treadmills like literally within 2 inches of each other. You have all your machine weights within 2 inches of each other, and people basically working out on top of each other constantly. There's no monitoring of how many people are on that floor space, and I think maybe that's where the call's been. And looking at the document, I would imagine that actually boutique gyms are gyms that can maintain good social distancing, can, a lot of us have more ways to open doors to get better airflow. To me, it looks like maybe phase 3 could be something that a case was made for. These gyms are slightly different, and there is a better way to do it. I think that as this process develops for governments and for the fitness industry especially, that a lot of stuff's going to come down to a case-to-case basis. I would imagine it's easier for Perpetua, for example, to open up with everything sectioned out, run classes only, no open gym, none of this, just call in when you want. People book in, how many people you're dealing with, you can clean equipment before and after. To me, that can open much faster than just say, like, for example, a FlyFit, where they're just going to have volume of people in. You can't monitor what they're doing. You can't monitor if they're cleaning equipment after them. You can't monitor which equipment they're using. There's one of those has a massive transmission risk and the other doesn't. And to me, someone in the powers that be, as this process develops, is going to have to recognize that. But again, that's the same for pubs and restaurants. I would imagine, as we approach the summer, pubs and restaurants could probably pivot quite quickly and go to, a lot of outdoor heaters and some shelter, and actually serve food outside with much more distance. And the pubs and restaurants that can do that, I would say, should be potentially allowed to open earlier versus the ones that can't. Because again, if you're going to look at this, you have to look at where the risks are and where the transmission risks are. So for me, as it develops and as the governments get a hold of it, there has to be more of a, I think, here's the main rule for everybody. However, we will look at each individual case, on a case-by-case basis to allow people to get back. And yes, that's a lot of work for the health and safety executive and the government. But to me, that work needs to go in, because if it doesn't, if you're saying to every gym, especially the small gyms and boutique gyms, hey guys, sorry, but you're going to be closed for 5 to 6 months completely. I mean, are they going to open again? I don't know. That's a very, very hard call to make. So I think that there needs to be a lot of work on the back end by governments to understand that this is quite individual. And as I said to you in the conversation before we had this, maybe what France have done is a smart way in terms of zoning areas. For example, like we talked about who you're interviewing in this, and you're talking about Brenton Walsh. I would imagine there's much less risk, in a very, very small town, down in Cork than there is in the centre of Dublin. So again, are they going to zone areas and say that, okay, maybe the green zone areas that don't have the same transmission risk and the same population, they can maybe open phase 3 slightly earlier than the likes of, the centre of Dublin, or the centre of Belfast, or the centre of London. To me, that would also make sense in terms of trying to get the economy moving and get things rolling again a little bit faster.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Hopefully they might take a different approach, because it is frustrating talking to different owners that they feel as if they're not classified as global gyms, and they know they can keep the social distancing. So as you say, something hopefully on phase 3 would kind of suit us.
But again, the fitness industry's changed. Anybody that believes that it hasn't is living in cloud cuckoo land. The whole marketplace has changed. I think that capacity in gyms, until there's a full vaccine for this, until this is all over, we all now need to look at our business models and understand that the capacity in each class and each hour that we run our gyms is now potentially, for most of us, 50% of what it used to be. And that changes the game. That changes the game massively. If you were profitable on 16 people per class and you could run that amount of classes per day to make you a successful business, you now need to look at your business model and understand that maybe it's going to be 8 people per class, and that's where your level of production is per hour. And that's a big thing for businesses to understand. But that is where the market is heading until there's a cure for this, or until there's a vaccine. And understanding that and being aware of that is also going to be important in people's mindset as they move forward with their businesses.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is. But we're all in this together, and what option do we have? You either decide that the gym industry and running your own business isn't for you, and you go back into the normal working world, or you just keep striving and pushing on, and hopefully come 2-3 years time it's all normal and we're all back to where we were before. But again, it's each person has to make that call and decide what it is that they want and where they're going to push to. Now, if you make the call that you're going to keep your gym open, then fight as hard as you can for it. If you make the call you're going to close, then cool, make sure you've got a good exit strategy and make sure you've got another career to go to.
Yeah. Okay, Neil, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
No problem at all. Okay.
I'm not overly worried about the announcement last night because I think things will change, and like people are going to find, like on phase 1, you're allowed to have fitness of like groups of 4 outdoors. I don't know if people will start pushing the boats with that as well. I think it's more important that you just tune into what your clients want. Had we shut for 2 weeks, everything would have just went back to normal. Every week this goes on, you've got to probably add another 2-3 weeks before a lot of your members are comfortable coming back into the gym.
Yeah.
And we marked out different spaces in the gym to see, okay, well, what if we did classes of X number of people, and how much space would that be? Could people come in one way, leave the other, keep the roller door open? And also, the government are meeting right now to talk about more business assistance. So you don't know if that's enough of a lifeline to keep people going. It's when it runs out, how quickly you can rebuild your business. And you're going to always have some people who are in person, some people are online.
Yeah.
One of my members was like, I love the online stuff. I wouldn't come back straight away, but I'd love to keep that. So you're going to do both at the same time for a while. And it's going to be interesting to see, because it's going to be a few months after we reopen that you're going to really know where the dust settles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't panic about the government announcements right away, because I didn't see it, but I heard Leo then on the late saying, well, some of the phase 4 and 5 stuff could be folded back in. So it seems to be it's going to be on business owners to say, look, here's my plan to keep people safe. Are we approved? So number 1, make sure you're legal. Don't say, oh, well, F the government, I'm going to open up, because you've just screwed your insurance over.
Yeah.
Probably lose your business over that. People will think you're reckless. If you had a safe document and the government or whoever signs off it would say, yeah, that's good, you're good to go. And, your ideal members were like, yeah, I'd be safe and comfortable returning back if you had these things in place. Then you could maybe start a slow reopening, or maybe just with one-to-ones or just with classes of 4. But I think don't panic just yet would be my overall advice to people, because things are going to change over the next week or 2 weeks. Those phases might get sped up or they might get slowed down. So, right now you're just playing
fingers crossed then as well. Obviously they might take some sort of different approach to, let's say studio gyms or whatever it is, gyms that run classes that would be able to control social distancing a little bit different than your general Globo gym and stuff like that. So hopefully that comes around as well.
I wouldn't use the term, I know we all use the term Globo gym. I wouldn't use that term talking to anyone for government. What I'd say is a service gym versus an access gym. A service gym, you're coming in with an appointment time to be coached, versus an access gym, which is your duns, your fly fit, that it's just scan your card and walk about your own thing. That's the distinction I make, because Globo gym is a term that we use that no one else understands.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we need someone in from CrossFit on that board making the decisions for them, huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Colm, listen, thanks very much. I'm just going to pause the video here now.
No, most definitely not. Definitely not from what you can see across the globe. In terms of how the fitness industry is that, I definitely feel sorry for the smaller studios, the guys who have invested every single thing they have in trying to keep things going. It's going to be very difficult for those guys to stay going. Personally, for Barry and myself, once we can kind of keep the wolf from the door, so in other words, once we can pay our rent, you know, and paid the initial bills, our overheads are limited, you know. So in other words, we have an online membership with our members, and that currently keeps things going. How long our members are willing to do that, in some ways, is reflective on how good the content, or how good our intention is with our members. You know, in other words, are we keeping connected with them? You know, are they getting bored with the level of programming? You know, are we constantly giving them air squats and burpees every day of the week? Or, you know, how engaged? I guess we need to continue to be engaged.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if we can get that engagement, you know, for the next 2 months, I've no doubt people will hang on for another month. It's very strange. It's very hard. Like the Taoiseach last night didn't even know to some answers. Like, you know, so, you know, next week things could change again. You know, it's daunting. It's very daunting in terms of like the city areas. I said, like where yourselves are. Like, you know, the competition that you had while you were full time was crazy. So now I can only imagine it's almost survival of the fittest. Excuse the word fittest, but it is survival of the guys who are willing to absolutely do every single bit of content every single day, and stay engaged, because it's very hard to stay engaged.
No, it is. Like people normally drop off after a couple of weeks,
because you're not getting the feedback that you would get physically in a gym. You know, those endorphins that you get off, you know, someone working out or someone getting the PB, or, you know, that kind of class environment. Those endorphins aren't there. And like, doing all the content and all the instructional videos is great, absolutely brilliant. But as a kind of a coach, or as, you know, a member, let's say, in terms of engagement, if they're not seeing me, or not seeing you, or not seeing our coaches, you know, there's out of sight, out of mind type thing.
No, it's a strange time for members, because like an awful lot of them have been saying, or even talking to other owners as well, like members themselves, like the reason they come to the gym, obviously other than the training and the program, is the physical thing. It's like being in the gym and being told what to do. So it's be interesting to see what happens in a couple of months, because like even of ourselves, like as you said, mentioned like the city centre, the biggest thing for us at the moment is when are the offices going to be back open, because without the offices back open, people aren't going to be in town. It's going to be still dead regardless if we were to open up today. So
it's the other side of that, and I think I had this conversation last night, is that, you know, people who have disposable income, or people who are currently still being paid, it's not really an issue for them. They're still continuing their membership. You know, we are very lucky where we are, that we would have a high level of, not high level, we would have a large amount of teachers.
Yeah.
So a lot of my members, female and male, are teachers, because we have a lot of schools in the area, and it's just one of those things. And luckily enough, teachers are still getting paid. You know, so I would say if we look across my board, you know, in terms of members paying, pretty much everyone who's a teacher is still paying, which is brilliant. You know, we have a couple of guys who are in construction. They're continuing to work because some of the essential works are going on there. So we're very lucky that way. So I think you just tapped onto a point there big time, in that it's a type of person, or the type of income they're making. You know, if you have tradesmen, teachers, we have prison officers, we have, you know, people in the defense forces, and we have probably a lot of people in the kind of medical side of things. And all those people are still working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of those people are still willing to pay a membership, because they have the income, and they still have that disposable income to pay. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like, you know, your demographic in terms of your member base, if you have a lot of office workers, I think it's struggle. Yeah, that's a good call. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's been on our mind for a while, but yeah. Listen, Alan, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And I'll just pause the video now. Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah.